Hello! In this video I'll talk to you about what makes me happy. Talking with my son, playing at the park. It's actually just going for a walk with the dog and playing with my son. I spar with him. Reading. I'm reading Proverbs. I'm reading a book about real estate. I'm reading a book about parables of Jesus. I'm reading another book about, well, that one I won't be able to mention to you. It's a dream I have. I'm making videos and sparring. So these are my uppers. This is what I do to feel great. So I'm happy. I like myself because I do these things. Alright. When I'm bored, what do? I spar. These are my options. I use the computer. I play with my dog. I play with the kittens. Actually, this is not mine. I wrote it, but this is my son's. I practice Eskrima. Alright, that was 5. 6. I practice with the sword. I listen to music. I read a book. I listen to an audiobook. I do an experiment. Alright. Okay, so that's from another topic. Alright, let's see. It says, are you being held hostage at your own home? I sell video cameras. I teach you how to get your life back. Come live with me. Send me your videos. I would love to go live somewhere else. The food here is great. The problem is, well, actually, I don't have any problems anymore. The spouse is finally giving me sex, and my son, he's my best friend, and I got a couple of friends at the park, adults with kids. How about that? They play. The children play together. All right, here's my story. I think that will be. Oh, it's all right. My story. 1. The spouse pulled my 4-year-old son's ear. At 5 years old, she pulled his hair. So I stayed home to protect him from work. I stayed home. Plus, she would take my money from work and not let me live my life and make my dreams come true like a skylight. She wouldn't let me make my own composting toilet, things like that. 2. We went to marriage counseling. That was a trap. I got labeled bipolar because I talked fast because we only had 45 minutes with a nurse practitioner. So, I spoke fast. I mentioned the organization and the lady's name. Now the spouse yelled. I told her I would hit the car. That was the 3rd thing I did. Then she wasn't home, so I grabbed a bat and I hit the car 5 times. I was not even angry. I only hit the door. Then the following Saturday she yelled again, so I said, okay, when you leave I'll hit the car. So I hit the car. The 3rd week she said, I'll call the cops, so I didn't hit the car. I wrote on it, I will only speak softly to my husband. I will not yell. And her co-workers cleaned up the car for her. Let's see. 3 months went by. Then the kids were sick from school one day and they were slamming the doors. The spouse forbid me to, well, I forgot what it was. Didn't write it down. Oh, to donate the doors to Habitat for Humanity 2 years earlier. Because I want. What happens is the daughter 2 years ago, almost 3 years now, began slamming the doors. So I said, well, I used to just take the door down, but that didn't help because the first thing the spouse does is put the door back 3 days later or whenever they get around to it. I used to throw the pins under the bed, so like they have to move the whole bed to be able to put the door back. Then this year my son slammed the door for the first time, and Grandma instantly hit him with a belt. And she walked faster than me because I had worked that day with drywall cleaning, lifting 1,000, 2,000 pounds during 10 hours of hard labor. And so I couldn't walk. I couldn't even get off the car when I got home. And so these double standards for men and women. Oh, she's a girl, you're not going to hit her, but a boy, oh, I'll hit him with a belt. All right. All right. 2 years later, the kids stayed home from school. The spouse moved my tools. So when I woke up, I heard them slamming the door, playing around. I instantly went. My tools were not next to my bed, which was in the living room. So I kicked the door 3 times. The 2 times didn't make a hole, so I didn't kick it. I didn't stop. And then the third one finally made a hole, so I stopped there. So that was on a Wednesday. Then on Friday, the daughter didn't practice Tai Chi Chuan with me on Thursday, and I wanted my 15 minutes on Friday morning. Plus for her to stay home from school since it was the last day of school. Oh, yeah, it was the last day of school before going to the 2-week Christmas vacation. Plus the 20 kids had just been shot at the school, Sandy Hook, somewhere. Is that in Boston somewhere? A week or 2 earlier. So the spouse called the police and they took me away with the Baker Act, which is arbitrary. I had not broken any laws. You could destroy your doors. That's not doing anything. What's the difference between grabbing a bat and throwing it in a garbage can and grabbing a bat and destroying your car? Now, I already had 5 years earlier, I wanted to destroy my bed, the marriage bed that she bought. But I went to the fire department and they told me I couldn't have a fire back here because I didn't have 3 acres of space or something. So I said, okay, I won't burn the bed then. I did something else to it. I stabbed it about 40 some times because I didn't count it. I stabbed the bed everywhere there was a little thing. I just stabbed it. But what happened with that was I was gonna cut it, but my knife was not sharp, so I could only poke it. Now that does not mean I was going to hurt the spouse, because then my kids will grow up without a mother, and I don't want to do that. That was just means I wanted to destroy my bed. As a kid, I used to grab a little car, because my grandpa used to buy little cars for me, right? Not just the iPod, but pretend it's a car. And I used to grab a rock and smash it. Eventually, he just stopped buying me cars. I used to go, wah, I want that. He used to take me to town maybe once a week, I don't know. And I used to see the little car, and I'd go, wah, I want it. So he'd buy it. I was the only kid that had those type of toys. Everybody else had wood knives. The adults, they would make a toy knife for the kids. Alright, so then I got out of the Christmas jail, hospital jail, Baker acted, and I started homeschooling my son But my mother said to the spouse that DCF was going to take her children away. So they lied on the ex parte paper at court and said that I was seeing and hearing things. So the two police officers came back on February 13th and took me away. Now, the Baker Act place is abusive. They make you take pills. Well, you lose your gun privileges as far as concealed carry. You lose your loss of security guard job, which is fine. It's not a job worth doing anyway. You lose not being with your... Oh, this is what I really lost. I lost 7.5 days plus 5 days without being with my son. That's what I lost. All right? 7.5 days being with... There were just two violent persons. They were both there at the same time. The second time I was there, nobody was violent towards me. All right. There were just one guy. He was standing in line for brushing his teeth. I was in front of him, and he just blew in my ear, and that was a jackass. Now, I didn't hit him because I was in the place where I really missed my son, so I had to behave. So I don't. What is it? I have to behave only because I want to get out of there. You understand? And it wasn't a big thing. Yes, he was bullying me. And the other guy, all he did was stretching, and he says, "Do you know I want to break your leg right now?" And then I went, I put my leg back underneath me because I was stretching it. But he didn't do it. Also, I was not home to protect my family for 7.5 plus 5 days. That's 7 plus 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12.5 days. And so my spouse put my kids at risk because I was not home to protect them. You see? These are things that some women just don't think about. Alright, so my story 4. Just move out, Daniel. No, I'm not able to move out because my son will be abused. He will suffer. He slammed the door and grandma hit him with the belt. No, not able to move out. His sister argues with him. The sister's bigger, so she sits on him. Alright, 5, pills. Now this one was poison to my body, and I took those pills, but I will never do that again. Not because the pills are bad. No, it's because I was forced. The nurse said, if you don't take them, you just get them injected. Well, that is violence, because that is worth violence. That is good violence, because that's the same thing as teenagers giving me a beer bottle, and I said, no, I don't want to drink. So then they said, come on. So I took it, and then I smiled, and I took a sip, right. And then I emptied it in the sink when they went to dance or something. And I filled it up with water. All right. But I should not have been in that place. But that's where I lived. All right. That was the house I lived in. All right. So what's next? These Baker Act hospital jail. They let you out once a week. They have the TV on, both TVs, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's terrible. So the TV being on all the time, that's annoying to me because I have birds singing over there in the backyard. Not being close to my son, and also To thyself be true, my friend. To thyself. If you know you don't need these pills, don't let anybody tell you that you need them. Because then you don't trust what you say. Your heart tells you what you're supposed to do. Your brain, whatever it is, your brain tells you you need them or you don't. Alright? Everybody else is bullying you. You have to be a strong man, a strong woman. Now this spouse, she just wants the disability check. Daniel, if you don't continue, then I'll throw you back in the hospital jail. If I don't continue with the disability paperwork, well, I'm not allowed to hurt you. Because, I mean, if you're going to take my freedom away for lying, like there was this king, the husband of Jezebel, King Ahab, and he wanted the garden. He had a huge garden, but he wanted the garden that belonged to some other old guy, right? Imagine he was old. And so Queen Jezebel had two bad men, two wicked men, tell lies about the owner of that garden, the old man. And eventually the man was extinguished. He was put to death. And he said, no, none of these things are true. I have not said anything against the king. No, no, I have not said anything against God. No, no, no. So, this is my dream. Daniel defends himself by video surveillance 24/7. Daniel made the sex video. Oh, the sex video? I think that's a dream. No, but now finally I'm getting sex regularly. The spouse hurt me. Alright, how many times? A bunch of times. When she was 8 months pregnant, I said, please, spouse, sit down. Let's talk about what we're going to name the baby. And she said, his name is Black. And she walked off. I said, alright, you totally disrespectful woman. Alright. And then when our kids got $100,000 because she sold her condo and got $100,000, she did nothing that I told her to do with it. So I knew it was going to be gone. I mean, you pluck it down in a house, it's gone. An expensive house, by the way, at that time. She gave me horrible sex for several years. She put me in a hospital jail and she continued to yell. That's abusive. Alright, the daughter is a queen bee and won't spend time with Daniel. Alright, so you're on the internet all day long and I'm not allowed to take away your Kindle because then your mother says, no, I will Baker Act you again if you don't leave her alone. So, alright. So I leave her alone. Alright. You don't have a dad anymore, girl. You don't. I mean, I say good morning, good night when you're in my presence, right? When I see you over there. But I have zero dealings with you. Alright? I used to say things like, please put your shoes on. Or, why am I so tough on the shoes? Alright, look. When I was a kid, I was running around barefoot, trying to imitate the other kids that were barefoot. I had shoes that had like a belt buckle on the side, and they were boots, but I didn't use them that day. I chased some other little kids playing around, and then when I jumped off of something, I cut all five of my toes on the bottom. And then my uncle stitched me up. He was a doctor. He put this crab on my chest that had been, it was a dead crab. It wouldn't move, but it was right there on my chest, and I looked at it, but I knew he was sewing my feet. And so he fixed me up. And then the 9-year-old boy, he died. He stepped on a nail. He died. He showed me the nail on his foot, and I said, what's that? A nail. a little round thing on the bottom of his foot. All you saw was a little dark. All you saw was a little dark right there. Alright, so what was my crime? My crime was to be a stay-at-home dad. Would you work if your spouse abuses the money? What is abuse? Paying for haircuts. We have the machine. Why don't we cut our hair here at home? Oh, okay. So you want to be one of those rich people that's fine to be rich. Alright, the girls have a difficult time with their hair, but my son and I, we could just cut our hair. But the spouse wants to take my son to go cut his hair. Look, if we have one penny, we all decide what we'd use it for. And that penny will give us $1 million. Alright? But if you're going to be spending it like this and like that, then you go to work, spouse. That's what you do. I am working cleaning up drywall construction. And she told me I could keep the money. Alright, that was this last week or something. I mean, not, that was the last week I worked. Slavery, it's a cruel punishment. Discrimination, Article 3. Article 3 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Article 2 is the discrimination. It's wrong to discriminate. Article 1 is we are all equal. Arbitrary arrest, that's when they arrest you when there is no law has been broken. Breaking the door is not, that's called arbitrary arrest, when they take you in and you haven't done anything illegal. Breaking a door, that's not illegal. If it's your house, it's your door. Alright. Then this is a shopping list, but I didn't get these things yet. Alright. So, where are we going with all of this? Well, my son loves me, my dog loves me, my dog moved in here with me. That tells you about loyalty. My goodness, this dog, she moved into this tiny room, which she wouldn't come in here for like the first 2 weeks. But that I moved in here. But eventually, she moved in here with me. That was a very nice thing to do. My son, his bed is here because there's really no place to put it in. The women live in 2 rooms. Grandmother has one and the 2 women have the other. But then my son sleeps over there sometimes because this air conditioner makes him sneeze. Alright. So I'm a happy man because my needs are being taken care of. Now that I'm very serious with the spouse. Whatever she wants, she has to come here to my room to ask me. You want to talk? Okay. Like I go over there and I ask for food, right? I just go serve myself. I don't have the key to go inside there. I knock on the door. They let me in. And I get my food. I don't eat it over there anymore, and I don't eat it with my mother anymore. I just come over here because my mother told me last week that she didn't want to see me anymore. Because every time I go into her room, I ask her to please turn off the TV because I cannot concentrate if the TV's on. To me, that's the same thing that Earl Woods, Tiger Woods' dad, did. He said, when my little boy wanted to talk to me, boom, they turned off the TV. And back then, you had to get up to go push the button. So, here I am. I have a new friend. Well, husband and wife and children at the park. And a dog, and my dog. The dogs like each other. Well, his dog likes my dog. So life is getting better each and every day. Well, talk to you later on.